There are, of course, many types of meditation practices that you can do. Some of them have evolved out of ancient wisdom traditions of various faiths, and some are strictly secular. But I want to focus on two particular practices that are very, very common today. The first one is concentration practice, and this is what most people tend to do. Sometimes it's referred to as focused attention practice. In the Buddhist tradition, it's referred to as shamatha. But the idea is that you put your attention on a fixed object, and when you notice your attention is pulled away, you gently return your attention to that focused object. Now, the object of attention that's predominantly used is the breath, the sensation of breathing. So we locate the breath wherever we are most easily able to access it, in the belly, the chest, the nostrils, and we follow that rhythm of the breath in, out, and so on. And then when we notice that we're lost in thought or distracted by a sound or some other kind of distraction, we come back. Now, you don't have to use the breath. There are other objects of focus that people use. Sometimes it's a mantra, concentrating on that. It could be a visualization of some kind that you're creating. It could be a particular area of focus that you're contemplating. It can be a candle, or perhaps you're just moving mala beads, kind of like rosary beads with your fingers. So that's your focus. So it can be a number of different things. But that's the basic idea, is that what you're doing is, as you continue to do this, you're better able to sustain your concentration on what the object is. And perhaps while doing that, you're better able to notice your habits of mind, what pulls you away. For example, as you do this and you notice that you get lost in thought, you might notice, oh, well, when I get lost in thought, I tend to be future tripping. I'm always thinking about the future. Maybe more specifically, you notice that you're always planning something, which is kind of what I do. I tend to be a planner. When I'm off daydreaming, I'm thinking about something I'm going to do. Well, that can be useful, but that's not what my intention is when I sit down to do a meditation practice. Or maybe you notice that you're in memory, or there may be a certain type of emotion or kind of a strong sensation in the body that keeps pulling at you. So you start noticing these kinds of things, and so that develops some insight into the habits of mind, but it also trains you to let go. You can notice that when you're pulled away, when you're distracted, you can let go and return. You don't have to stay lost in thought, lost in awareness of sensation, whatever it is. So it can be a very, very helpful practice in that way. The other type of meditation that I want to talk about is called a number of things, often referred to as open monitoring. It's also referred to sometimes as non-directive meditation or soft focus meditation. And it's really the opposite of the concentration or focused attention practice, whereas instead of putting our attention on a single object, whether it's a candle or mantra, the breath or whatever, we simply allow our attention to open up to whatever the whole range of experience is. So these can be sounds. Typically, open monitoring is done with eyes open. So whatever is within our visual field. It could be sensations in the body. It can be any sense experience as well as the mind. And I heard this taught really, really well once by one of the teachers that I've benefited from, Kevin Griffin. And the way he explained it is, you can imagine that the full range of your experience is like a circle. And what you're doing is you're putting your attention in the center of it, like a dot in the center of a circle, and that your awareness is just expanding and radiating out. And there's really very little doing that's happening. You're simply allowing your attention to follow these different experiences and notice what that's like. So you can do that in a regular sitting practice, if you're on a chair or a cushion. But one way I really like to do this practice is when I'm outdoors. So I frequently go to the woods, and there's one spot in particular I really like where I sit next to a stream. And this is a great place to do this practice. So I sit next to the stream, my eyes open, and of course there's the sound of the water. I might hear the wind rustling the leaves or branches of the trees. I can feel the sensations of the sun or the wind or perhaps coolness on my skin. I can feel any internal sensations. I can certainly feel my feet or my bottom touching the ground or the rock that I'm sitting on. I might notice the aftertaste of whatever I've been drinking, perhaps some coffee or tea or an apple that I ate. And I just sit there and I allow the experience to be as it is, just to open to whatever's happening. Another way I do this sometimes is when I'm walking. So if I'm going to a store, for example, I tend to be one of these people that parks on the other side of the parking lot. Now there's a practical side to this. Maybe my doors don't get scratched up, but it gives me an opportunity to do some walking meditation. Once I get out of the car, I slowly walk to the entrance, and I'll do this open monitoring experience, just taking in the sky, the clouds, any surroundings, cars, people, whatever's going on, just opening my awareness to it. And in the 2, 3, 4 minutes it takes me to go to the entrance of the store, I've done a meditation. And it really allows me to practice just bringing my attention to that present moment experience. Now, if you're doing a formal practice, you can move from one to the other. You could start out doing a concentration practice and then say, okay, I'm going to open my eyes and just simply do the open monitoring practice. And then perhaps bring it back to the concentration practice. So play with it. See how it works. Try these different meditations out. And if you continue to do these practices, you're going to notice benefits when you're out and about in doing your different activities, where you're able to notice how you respond to how life is unfolding around you.